Ready? All right. Well, I guess I'm being told that we're live, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to Development Review Commission for August 25th, 2020. We have a short agenda tonight, but I think it'll be an interesting one nonetheless. Thanks for joining us online if you're joining us that way. Let's do our opening preamble here, folks. The Development Review Commission is created to hold public meetings and hearings to provide analysis and recommendations to the City Council regarding general land use policies and applications where the Commission has recommendatory power, and to render final decisions on specified applications where the Commission has final decision-making power, including but not limited to all aspects of a proposed and future development. The Development Review Commission recognizes that the creation of a desirable environment throughout the city for residents, business, and industry is a prime requisite for the interdependence of land values, aesthetics, and good site planning. By promoting harmonious, safe, attractive, and compatible development that is therefore considered to be in the best interest of public health, safety, and general welfare. Any person aggrieved by a final decision of the Development Review Commission may file an appeal to the City Council within 14 calendar days after the Development Review Commission has rendered its decision. So, having said that, let's do some introductions. I have here with me in council chambers Ms. Suparna Dasgupta, Ms. Joanna Berry, Mr. Steve Abramson, and we also have online joining us Mr. Chad Weaver, Ryan LeVake, and Lee Jimenez and Robbie Aaron are there as well. And our commission tonight is comprised of Commissioner Andrew Johnson, Commissioner Barbara Lloyd, Commissioner Don Cassano. We have Commissioner Michelle Schwartz joining us as well. We have Vice Chair Mike DiDomenico, and Commissioner Scott Sumners, and Commissioner Stephen Bauer, and I am Chairman David Lyon. So, our first item of business will be a consideration of meeting minutes from July 28th. We have reviewed those meeting minutes for both study session and regular session and did not find any edits or corrections that we wish to make. So, Commission, I'm seeing a hand here. Commissioner Cassano, is there something that you would like to contribute here?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the commission study session of 7/28/20 and the regular meeting of 7/28/20.
All right, fair enough. So we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Cassano. Do I hear a second, please?
Second.
And seconded by Vice Chair DiDomenico. Commissioner Bauer, how do you vote?
Aye, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Cassano?
Aye, Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chair DiDomenico?
Aye.
Getting a little tongue-tied here, folks. Sorry about that. I vote aye as well. Commissioner Sumners?
Aye.
Commissioner Lloyd, how do you vote?
I'm abstaining as I was not present for these meetings.
Well done. And Commissioner Johnson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. So the motion passes 6-0 with Commissioner Lloyd abstaining. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the rest of our agenda. There are two items which we have elected to put on the consent agenda, and this means that we intend to approve them without further discussion. Having read over the material, we believe that they're ready to be approved without further discussion there. If there's anyone joining us online that wishes to have one of these cases heard, we can pull it from the consent agenda and hear the case, and you can have an opportunity to make comment, and we'll consider that in our deliberations. Ms. Dasgupta, do we have any indication of anyone that wishes to hear either AUFA Enterprises? Did I say that right? How is it? AUFI, sorry. AUFI Enterprises or United Metal Products?
Chairman, we do not.
Okay. Those two items being our consent agenda, we'll move ahead with our consent agenda as written. We will be joined by Commissioner Schwartz for that vote. So can I hear a motion regarding that consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second, Mr. Chairman, Don Cassano.
Okay. I apologize. I couldn't hear the original motion very clearly. Who was that put forward by?
DiDomenico.
Thank you, Mike. All right, so motion to approve from Vice Chair DiDomenico and seconded by Commissioner Cassano. Commissioner Bauer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Cassano?
Aye.
Vice Chair DiDomenico?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Commissioner Sumners?
Aye.
Commissioner Schwartz, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Commission. Okay, so having taken care of those two items, we will move on to the Hive, Arizona. This will be our one remaining item that we will hear tonight. So let's see. It is our custom that we typically allow the applicant to make their case first, and that way you can frame the issues as you see fit. Let's see, is it Daryl Stevenson? I'm doing this by memory at this point. Thank you. Do we have Mr. Stevenson with us online?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if you'd like to, please tell us about your case and tell us why you feel a use permit would be an appropriate choice.
Well, the reason why we put in for the permit, the use permit, is we've been in the radio business for over 15 years, and I host several shows on 99.3 The Beat, and I decided a couple of years ago to start doing it myself. I wanted to be a little bit more instrumental into the process, and we just started doing our online radio station. And during that, we did many things for the community, as far as food drives for the homeless, just a lot of sports for the community, just bringing different elements to the community. And we feel that our presence is needed. You know, we've been doing it for a long time, and we feel like this would be something big for the community. We understand that a couple of mistakes we made during the process allowed a few people to, which I take responsibility regardless if they did it or not, did some things that went against what we're trying to do. And we just feel like we're a big part of the community, and you know, we would love for us to be granted this permit.
Okay. If you'd like, we can go ahead and ask some questions now, or if you have some more comments, you know, we're all ears.
Yes, you know, this is my first business, so you know, there were certain things that I wasn't aware of, and now that we're going through the process, I'm starting to learn a lot more about, you know, opening up and going through the use permit. So we did make some mistakes, and like I said, that we just want to be a part of this community. Want to do some good things. We've been doing some good things, and we want to continue doing some good things. And like I said, I'm new to this. I'm just learning, and I just want to be a part of this community.
Okay. All right. How about we ask you some questions then? Would that be all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I don't know who put their little digital hand up first, but I'm going to go to Commissioner Bauer.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Stevenson, you know, there are a number of procedural issues that need to be addressed with regard to your use. This is one of them. Another is the State Department of Liquor License and Control. If you're going to serve alcohol, that is a critical milestone that must be addressed. But there's also technical issues that must be addressed, and the fire department regulations and building safety is of utmost importance. I've been in development and construction the majority of my life, and these things cannot be taken for granted. I will say that the use permit on its surface for this location does not appear to be objectionable. It's really the operational criteria that's heretofore has been undertaken. I was by the site yesterday, and it appeared that there were some interior modifications being done. Is that in fact the case? If it is the case, are those modifications to address some of the fire code issues? And where do you stand with your Department of Liquor License and Control liquor application?
Well, as far as the fire department and all the safety, we addressed that several months ago. We did all the back, the latches for the back, the exit signs, the fire extinguishers and everything. We changed the locks so it have the double locks. We did all them. So we did all that they wanted us to do as far as the safety. And as far as the liquor license, we wasn't really trying to pursue the liquor license as of yet. I'm sorry. I think it was more like we were just waiting on that, because I don't think we want to get into the liquor license part of it as of yet. We just wanted to use it as a venue, pretty much.
Okay, Commissioner Bowers, you have any more questions that you want to, or you follow up with?
Mr. Chairman, just that I think we're going to need the fire department and staff to update us on any permit status and interior renovations that may or may not have been completed, and where it stands from an occupancy standpoint. To be happy to wait for those responses from city staff. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet. Okay, Daryl, if I may, I'd like to dovetail off those questions that Commissioner Bauer was asking you. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I like the spirit of wanting to do something good. But, we kind of represent a lot of standards here, which are put in place basically make sure people don't get hurt. One of those being alcohol license. And I'll tell you, I'm a little concerned hearing you say that you're not really thinking about pursuing your liquor license yet. Based on what we've heard, it sounds like alcohol has been served and continues to be served at that location, and that there is a bar in place. And that gives me some concern. So can you speak to that a little more, please?
Well, at first, speaking of any, anything that we're doing right now, we're not doing any construction on anything else. We haven't did anything for maybe like 8 months. As far as the liquor license, I want to pursue it. I'm just waiting on an investor. That was the main thing for not getting the liquor license right away. But as far as anything liquor or anything that's going, we don't do that at all any longer. I think one incident that happened was one of the employees had a birthday party, which I wasn't here, but I still take full responsibility for it, because they're my employees and I have responsibility. But I no longer allow liquor or anything of that nature in the business.
All right. Okay, fair enough. Commissioner Cassano, I think I saw you had your hand up earlier. Do you have a question?
Mr. Chairman, that was an error. I took it down.
Okay. Anyone else, any questions for our applicant? All right, seeing none, we'll call it good with the questions there, and we will come back to you. After we've heard from city staff, you'll have a chance to respond to everything that you hear in the next few minutes, so sit tight, Daryl. So, do we have Mr. Jimenez with us?
Good evening, Chair Lyon, Vice Chair DiDomenico, members of the Commission. My name is Lee Jimenez, and I am a senior planner with the Community Development Department in the Planning Division. The Hive, Arizona is an internet radio establishment operating in Suites 11 and 12 of King Center, which is located south of East Apache Boulevard and west of South McClintock Drive in the CSS Commercial Shopping and Services District and within the TOD Transportation Overlay District. The applicant is requesting a use permit to allow live entertainment as an accessory use as a result of several code compliance complaints dating back to October of 2018. The establishment is known to be operating without a live entertainment use permit, serving alcohol without a liquor license, and violating building and fire code by exceeding their maximum occupant load, among other fire code related violations. The operator is currently under investigation by Tempe Police, Tempe Fire Medical Rescue, and the Arizona Department of Liquor and License Control. Tonight, I've invited Ryan Conway from Tempe Police and Brandon Siebert from Fire Medical Rescue to keep on hand to answer any questions on the ongoing issues related to the business.
Okay.
So a neighborhood meeting is not...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me? So a neighborhood meeting is not required for this type of request. The applicant has received 12 emails in support from colleagues, friends, and acquaintances, and staff has received 1 phone call and 1 email in opposition to the request. Each of the opposition messages cites a history of noise issues stemming from nearby businesses providing or conducting live entertainment as part of their business. As far as some input from Tempe PD, Fire, and the Arizona Department of Liquor and License Control, they've witnessed 57 people occupying the leased space, which is 67% over capacity. Co-Compliance has issued several violation notices to both the operator and the property owner. First one was in December of 2019, and then the second and final notice was on April 2nd of 2020. Co-Compliance, Fire, Police continue to have ongoing issues with the business. The business owner has shown a pattern of non-compliance and lacks communication with these entities. Most of the recent calls for service, the most recent calls for service have been due to loud music, which were received by police in May of 2020 on the 9th and the 11th, which also coincided with the governor's Stay Home, Stay Healthy, Stay Connected executive order, which issued guidance that included canceling or postponing gatherings of 10 or more people. So based on the information provided by the applicant, the public input received, and the analysis provided in the staff summary report, staff does not support the requested use permit. The request does not meet use permit approval criterion number 2, number 3, and number 5. Police have received multiple calls for service related to excessive noise in the recent past. The operator has continued to host non-sanctioned events with disparagement of local and state regulations and authorities. The operator's track record and lack of communication with local and state authorities leads staff to believe that there will be no adequate control of disruptive behavior related to the proposed use. Now, should affirmative approval action be taken on this request, the standard conditions of approval for live entertainment is recommended by staff and provided in the staff report. And I'll be available should you have any questions related to the use permit application. And like I said earlier, on hand we do have representatives from fire and police to speak, to answer any questions on behalf of police or fire-related issues. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Jimenez? All right, seeing none, we'll thank you, Lee. Let's move on. And do we have Brandon Siebert with us?
I'm here, Chair Lyon. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, if you can kind of give us the fire department side of things, that would be most appreciated.
Certainly. Good evening, Chair Lyon and members of the commission. My name is Brandon Siebert. I am a fire inspector with the Tempe Fire Medical Rescue Department. As Mr. Jimenez said, we as the fire department and police department, and eventually the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control, formalized a task force and conducted 2 separate operations at this occupancy, once in 2018 and once in 2019. Those were preceded by a notification from other City of Tempe staff that there was a possibility of a special event that was going to take place at this business. Upon notification of that event, city staff, myself included and one of the other inspectors, notified the responsible parties, including the applicant, that they would not be able to have that special event without clearing up numerous fire code violations. I believe it was the very next evening we went out for the first operation because we had information that there was a gathering at that establishment, and indeed there was, and we did notice numerous fire code violations. It is our opinion that those violations were never fixed because in the 2019 operation, which was similar in nature, we found almost all of the same violations, including some of which being very over capacity. And even as far as I saw during the study session, it was brought up as far as doing the right thing and having the applicant giving the opportunity to do the right thing. I believe this was in my report, but I'd just like to echo again that during the 2018 inspection, we posted official City of Tempe do not occupy signs on the business, and the 2018 sign was still on the front door during the 2019 operation, which had been ignored. And we then posted a additional sign at the 2019 operation, which clearly had also been ignored given the fact that the police department has had calls for service since that time. As far as another comment was made during study session about not basing the decision strictly based on past performance. One thing apart from those previous issues that were noted, we do have some pretty critical problems with the application from a fire code and building code standpoint, as Commissioner Bauer alluded to, with one in particular being that the application is for a group A1 occupancy, with A standing for assembly, in accordance with the International Code Council. The occupancy is currently rated as a group B2, according to the most recent certificate of occupancy. Moving from a group B to a group A, in accordance with the fire and building codes adopted by our city council, would require very significant upgrades and changes to the building as far as safety is concerned. We, again, I know Commissioner Bauer, you did mention an update on the any sort of changes or permitting, and immediately after you asked that question a few moments ago, I did look up in the community development database, and there are, apart from this use permit application that we're talking about tonight, there have been no construction permits whatsoever for this business. So as of right now, as far as the fire department is concerned, all of those code violations are still active. And one other thing I just also wanted to add, as far as the site map is concerned, it says that there is an existing dance hall. I just wanted to make note that that dance hall is not legal per code. So I took a little bit of an issue with the word existing there. And then where it says countertop is actually a permanent bar. I do have photographic evidence of all of this. I did not bring it tonight due to the fact that there is an ongoing criminal investigation related to the fire code violations, in addition to what the state liquor board has. I know our my police department counterpart will have some additional information for you, but I am available right now with any questions as far as the fire side of things is concerned.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Siebert? Well, I think you've done a capable job of laying the case out, so clearly no questions on it. Thank you, Brandon. So let's move on and see if we have Ryan Conway available. Ryan Conway, our police representative, are you with us?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, hello.
Hi there. They're connected now.
You are.
Great. So if I can begin to follow up Brandon Siebert, he nailed all the investigations on the head for all that stuff. On the 2018 event, there was no criminal investigation taken at that time on the PD side. We deferred to the fire codes that were observed by Officer Siebert. But when it came to the December 2019 investigation, the liquor board agent assisted with that operation. He actually did go inside in an undercover capacity, paid a $5 cover charge, and then did purchase alcohol from the bar that was serving there. That investigation is still ongoing. The criminal charges that we were looking at for that incident were as operating in an establishment without a liquor license, and according to the liquor board, they've tried to reach out to Mr. Stevenson multiple times, but he has not responded to them for that investigation. Then to go fast forward into this year, after we did go into lockdown for the COVID-19, on March 29th, there was a noise complaint of a large party at this location. When officers arrived, people left the area prior to being contacted, and when officers attempted to make contact at the door, the person refused to identify themselves or open the door at that time. Since everybody had left, officers left because there's no more music or no more event going on. On May 9th, we received another call of noise complaint. That one was not substantiated, but there was a following complaint on May 11th where police responded, and as soon as the police arrived in the parking lot, the music was turned off, and again, no response from the business. So with all those complaints that were issued, we have not had a good dialogue with this business owner. We've not had any communications on what's expected on PD side as far as if they're hosting special events, things of that nature. One thing to note on the December 2019 event where Mr. Stevenson indicated it was a birthday party that was advertised on social media, indicating there was a cover charge, but would take toy donations, as he indicated he was looking to get proactive in nonprofits with the community. That would have been a special event license that was needed since they're serving alcohol. That would have been a good point if he would have taken all these contacts where we could educate him on that part for that. But the ongoing consistence of events occurring at this property is a major concern for the police department, as we believe they're going to continue. Reviewing the layout of the business with the dance floor, the DJ booth, the bar being the predominant focus of the business, and we have concerns with the letter that he was expressed of wanting to expand his radio station, which the studio is a very small portion of that business, and he was just going to have a guest audience. It does not look to us that this is going to be a live entertainment use permit for a radio with audience use. It looks like it's set up for a nightclub use, which through the past history, those have been violations that we have noted throughout the years. With that, I'll take any questions that are out there.
Thank you. I'd like to ask a question right away, if you can hang on a sec, Vice Chair. Mr. Conway, can you tell us more about the bar? Sounds like you're describing it as a permanent installation. This doesn't look like something that's, well, I guess permanent is the word. It looks like this thing is meant to stay.
That is my understanding. Unfortunately, I was not present on these violations, so I'll have to defer to Brandon Siebert since he took the photos and can describe them better for me. But as they were described to me by the liquor board, it was a fully stocked bar that he purchased alcohol from.
Okay.
So I don't know if Brandon's here who can answer that question.
Okay. Let's go to Vice Chair DiDomenico. Your question, please.
Mr. Conway, just specifically with regard to the noise complaints that the city received and some emails or calls that staff has received in opposition to the case. Talk a little bit about noise transmission there. Is there any way that if live music was being performed inside this location that it would not cause a problem?
According to the noise complaints, I don't have record of who was calling those noise complaints are. I know there are residential facilities to the east. I don't know if those developments have gone in or there's construction over there. So we don't know if they're coming from the residential areas to the west of it or if there are other businesses who are trying to operate and being disruptive. I did, the one officer did note on the March incident that as he arrived, he could hear the music from outside. I believe he indicated close to 300 feet away from the business as he was approaching. So I don't know, it wasn't articulated in his report if doors were kept open or windows were kept open, but that was a significant distance that he noted in his report.
Thank you.
All right, other questions for Mr. Conway? All right, I guess that's it. Well, thank you, Mr. Conway. If I could, can we come back and can we get Mr. Siebert? Can you join us again for a moment, please?
Yes, I'm here with you, Chair Lyon.
All right, thank you. I apologize. I should have asked this before, but can you tell us about this bar? Can you describe what this thing is like physically?
Yes. So as I mentioned, it is a permanent bar. I again am not sharing the pictures during this public meeting as they are part of the criminal investigation. However, I do have them here next to me, and I'm looking at them. It is a just pretty much what you would expect with a standard nightclub type bar. Permanent installation with a countertop surrounded by bar stools. On the bartender side of it was basically a wet bar setup with tubs to handle beverage containers with ice in them, which we did see and document at that time. And then behind the bar are numerous shelves with inlaid shelves with specialized multicolored lighting. And on those shelves were additional bottles of alcohol and then even televisions on the wall behind the bar as well.
Okay.
And also during that last inspection, as Officer Conway mentioned, there was a bartender behind that bar, and that's where she was serving from, and I believe a cash register as well.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Thank you. All right. So now we come to our public comment section. Ms. Dasgupta, do we have anyone that wishes to make comment?
Chairman, we do not have anybody.
Okay. We are aware of a number of public comments which we have read, but we won't have anyone joining us to speak, it sounds like. So let's come back to Mr. Stevenson. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Lloyd, do you have something?
I have a question for staff, if now is an appropriate time, or I can wait.
Okay, who's your question for?
Probably for Lee, just an overall question in regards to the approval that's being sought. So the request is for live entertainment, and if the request is not approved, is the applicant still able to conduct their live internet radio show from the space? That's not up for debate, correct?
Commissioner Lloyd, the answer is they can continue the internet radio since that use is permitted by right in this particular zoning district. It's just the ancillary use of the live entertainment would not be allowed if this is not approved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go to Mr. Stevenson then. You still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've heard quite a few things. Would you like to respond to what you've heard so far?
We don't have no cash register. I don't know where that came from. I think what was what I heard, I wasn't here the day when the party was here. So all I heard was what they told me. And then I've never got a call at all from anyone about liquor. I think it was the girl that was here, that my employee. She was throwing a party, so it was all on her. I guess they were investigating her on the sale of alcohol rather than me personally. That's what I was hearing. So all the time, every time that they came, I never been here. I've been either out of town or at home. But I've never heard from no one, so that kind of struck me. And then the cash register struck me because we don't have no cash register. I don't know where that came from, but that was my only main concern. And I think it was probably a few times where my DJ was in here. He was probably playing music, and the police came and they assumed that we had a party, but it wasn't no party.
Okay. I'd like to ask a few questions, if I may. How do you respond to, well, tell us about this bar. It sounds like there's a permanent installation there with lighting in the works. That to me doesn't sound like, hey, somebody just brought some alcohol and sold it. That sounds like a lot of effort went into creating this situation.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, my whole goal was to give people a live podcast listening that they can be able to come in. And my goal was to get the liquor license. It still is my goal to get the liquor license. Like I said, I'm still waiting on the investor. But other than that, we don't no longer do parties. We haven't did parties in a while. I think what they thought we were doing, probably parties in the May or of 2020, was my DJ just playing some music, and he just didn't open the door because he didn't know what was going on. That was what I heard. So
if this is your establishment and you're the proprietor, how come you are not there when all these incidents are happening?
A lot of times, a couple times when I was out of town, and then there was one time that I was at home and I got word that, and I came afterwards, after when everything was done. But I did tell her I didn't know what type of party she was doing, so I take responsibility for that. But I thought she was just doing something, just a couple people, that's it. And unfortunately, I don't know nothing about sale of alcohol or none of that. I never.
So if this is your business and you know you don't have the liquor license in place, how did you allow a bar to be built inside the place?
I built the bar because I wanted to, that was my goal, to get a liquor license. But I don't stock it, the liquor. We don't have no liquor stock. It's just a bar that's just built. There's no liquor stocked in here or nothing. It's just a countertop.
All right, other questions for our applicant? Commissioner Cassano.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Stevenson, going along the same lines of the questions that have just been asked of you, as the owner, you're responsible for the use of this property. If you have all of these violations, and what we're hearing from the police department and fire department, you're not really responding to them about these. They're not having any contact with you about these. Why are none of these issues being taken care of? And that's responsibility.
Okay. As far as the fire department, I did all the things as far as the safety measures and all that. As far as the police, they contacted the property owner about this, and he contacted me about it. As far as the liquor board was contacting my employee about it because she threw the party. They never said nothing about me or try to contact me or call me at all.
But knowing that these violations are out there and there's notices on your door and there's been communication, you don't appear to have responded to any of that, and that concerns me. That you're not taking responsibility. You're saying you're responsible because you own the business, but you're really not. Doesn't appear you're taking that responsibility by not knowing what your employees are doing when you let them use the premises. That's what concerns me most, is that I don't see a track record here of you taking the steps necessary to make sure that in the future, if a use permit were granted, that you would obey the rules of the use permit, the conditions. That's what's concerning me. And I don't know how you're going to answer that, because you seem to be evading the direct answer, is that I'm fully responsible, but you say I wasn't there, I didn't know. These people, if they work for you, you should be in supervising them. You should know what's going on. Those are my concerns. So that's what's going to be in my mind when you continue your discussion here tonight. Thank you.
You got a response for that?
I absolutely understand that. And like I said, I take full responsibility. I made my mistakes, and you live and you learn, and more than anything, I'm getting better, Like I said, this is my first business, and I'm learning a lot of things that I did wrong, and I take responsibility for all of them.
Okay. Any more questions for applicant? Commissioner Bauer?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Stevenson, as I said at the outset, there are so many steps that need to be addressed with this use. I am, again, as I said, and I am happy to go on the record that I don't think that this type of use at this location is objectionable on its face. I am concerned that, number one, I think you need someone to assist you with these various processes. Obviously, the fire department has indicated that there are no active building permits. If there are no active building permits, you cannot get inspected to ensure that your fire, life, and safety criteria for this suite have been addressed. And with that, you can then not get a occupancy limit certificate for any use of this suite. That needs to be addressed. And for that, you're going to need to submit for building permits, and you're going to need a licensed architect and possibly other consultants and contractors. The existence of the bar on its face is not objectionable unless you're actually using it as a bar without a liquor license. If you are intending to get a liquor license, that process is a bit cumbersome and it is not easy to obtain. So I guess I want to know, are you willing to take all of these steps in order to establish this use on this property? And if you are, I need to hear that from you, and I think you're going to need some assistance in getting all of this done. There's a lot of work that's going to have to go into this. Hiring a draftsman to prepare a plan, which is fairly detailed and thorough, does not a building permit make. So I want to know what your next steps are if indeed this process is to go forward in any way, shape, or form. I have to say I don't believe it's ready to be approved tonight. You don't have a suite that's available to be occupied. But again, if it were to be available to be occupied and used, I would certainly consider a use permit for live entertainment based on what steps you've taken to get there. So I'd like to hear your response to that.
Thank you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I really believe in what we're doing. We made some mistakes, and I take fully responsibility for all the mistakes. And I just want to see my company be a part of the community, Tempe community, and whatever I need to do, go through the process, I'm willing.
Okay, any more questions for our applicant? All right, seeing none, we'll thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Appreciate hearing from you. Commission, thanks for jumping in there with some good questions. I don't know if anyone wants to make comment. I have a couple of thoughts of my own, which I'm actually just going to share right now. Usually I wait and go last, but I suspect Mr. Stevenson is probably pretty good at music. That's kind of a guess. I have no idea. And there's a passion for something there. But it looks to me like he's a long way from knowing how to start this up as a business. Mr. Stevenson, if this is your property and this is your business, nobody can come in that door without you knowing about it. And nothing can happen inside that place without you being responsible for it. To have a fully constructed and stocked bar, as we've heard testified by the fire department and police, well, it sounds to me like you're just, you've got the cart before the horse. And there's a lot of things that you got to do in order to set this up as a proper business if you want to be a proper business. Let me digress for a minute. You know, some of the things that we're pushing on, and the red tape and the bureaucracy and all those things, you know, it may sound like being a little bit of a stick in the mud, but you know, I was just told the other day by my in-laws about a club in Peru, which they were down in Peru and they happened to know this area, and there was an event where the police came to this club, and everyone tried to run out of the club real quick because it was overcrowded and 13 people were trampled to death. We happen to have a pretty good track record in America for not having things like that happen, mostly because we enforce those rules pretty hard. And I don't think anybody's trying to say we don't want music or we don't want nightclubs. You know, I think we actually do want those things, but we get kind of persnickety about the rules because we don't want people to lose their life in a stupid accident. So I would just say, Mr. Stevenson, if you're real serious about this, either there's a lot you've got to learn and get in place, or maybe you want to find a business partner who's experienced in setting these places up, and you handle the music and they handle setting up and getting all the proper permits and licensing. I don't know, but I very much agree with Commissioner Bauer that I don't see a reason why there couldn't be a live music venue in this location. It just very, very much feels like you're demonstrating that you don't know how to take responsibility and follow those rules and stay in communication with the authorities. And so therefore, I cannot support this application. Commissioner Sumners.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your comments lead me to my thoughts and comments. Unfortunately, we, in some cases, don't have a good track record in the States for this kind of thing. And the incident that comes to mind was about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was the ghost ship event in Oakland where lots of people died, very sadly. So left unchecked, this kind of thing happens. And so this is my biggest concern with this case. I have no doubt that Mr. Stevenson is very active in the community. That's very clear from our report. That's great. No doubt that he's very talented in what he does. But the criteria that are in front of us here, I think the most significant one is adequate control of disruptive behavior. And I think we've heard time and again tonight that that control just isn't there. So for that reason, I can't support this application. Thanks.
Okay, other comments? Commissioner Lloyd.
Yeah, I understand that mistakes were made in the past, and I do want to commend the applicant for coming forward and trying to do the right thing and follow the right process. I do have major concerns about capacity and how that's going to be enforced, and I don't want to be making a decision that I might regret in the future just due to the risks that may be involved with overcapacity and the tragedies that were mentioned. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Sure, I don't have a whole lot to add. I agree with a lot of what the other commissioners have said. I think a lot of great points have been made. I'll just say that I hope that that he's able to get this on track, and when some of these other steps that need to be made are made, that he can come back to us and ask us at that point. But at the moment, I don't think that he's ready, and I'm not going to support the use permit.
Okay. Commissioner Bauer.
Mr. Chairman, question for staff. I kind of see where this appears to be headed. Is there a time limit in which Mr. Stevenson can file another use permit request should this one be denied? Is it a year?
Commissioner Bauer, yes, that's correct. It is a year.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Shall we have a motion then, or do we have additional comments? Let's hear a motion regarding the application then. We're all very quiet tonight. Commission, would you like to vote to approve or deny the application? Commissioner Cassano, please.
Mr. Chairman, to move this thing on forward, I would make a motion for denial of this use permit at this time.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second. DiDomenico.
Okay. So let's see. I'll make a couple notes here real quick. So motion to deny from Commissioner Cassano and seconded from Vice Chair DiDomenico. Commissioner Bowers, how do you vote?
Aye to the denial of the motion. I'm sorry, aye to the denial of the use permit.
Right. And I apologize. I said Bowers. I should have said Bauer. Forgive
That's
me.
all right, Mr. Chairman.
Right. So just for clarification, I think everyone knows, but a yes vote if the motion passes, this will have the effect of denying the application, denying the use permit. Commissioner Cassano, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Chair DiDomenico.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Commissioner Sumners.
Aye.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Aye.
And Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
All right, so the motion passes 7-0. I'm sorry, Mr. Stevenson. Perhaps we'll see you again, and we wish you good luck in the future. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's the last of the regular items on our agenda. Ms. Dasgupta, would you like to give us an update on future applications?
Chairman, the next meeting of Development Review Commission is on September 8th, and there are 2 items on the agenda. One is a request for a use permit to allow tire store for Discount Tire Company located at 1709 East Southern Avenue. And the second one is a use permit to allow a massage establishment at Transcendence Life Center at 123 East Baseline Road. Those are the 2 items.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Night, everyone.